Welcome to the Y Connect podcast. As the heartbeat of the community, the Y is a connector where people of all ages and walks of life come together to elevate their health, wellness, education, and essential life skills. Hear the stories of impact and join the authentic conversations where together we'll discover the journeys and pathways people take to connect through the Y. Now your hosts, Zarina, Robert, and Allison.
So hello, Allison and Robert. How are you guys?
Hello.
Welcome back. We're back.
2023. 2023.
It's been a little while.
We ended 22 so well.
Yeah, we did. It's so good to see you.
We did. It really is.
It's good to see you guys too. I tell you guys, today is a very busy. Busy. A lot of cooking and a lot of eating. So I'm fasting for the next 10 days, okay? And so I just got off a 10-day fast and I need to start it again.
Did you really?
The eating piece I could definitely relate to.
I did. I've been juicing, eating soup and salad. That's it.
Wow. That's
is that new for you?
My fasting. Yeah.
Is that relatively new for you?
It is very new for me because I don't believe in not eating like I want to, burgers and, you need a lot of protein in your diet. So just juicing, salads and soup. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Good for you. I have a feeling Robert did not do that last week as he just came back from a cruise. Lucky you.
Oh, nice, Robert.
Yes. All you can eat. And you mentioned burgers. So, it's walk up to what's his name? Guy. He's on the cooking show.
Fieri. Am I saying that right? Fiori.
Guy Fieri.
Yes.
And grab a tray and just eat all day.
Nice.
All day.
What was your favorite part of the cruise?
No complaints. Literally, it was sitting. I was just telling Allison. It was sitting on the 12th floor of the 12th deck, and no kids allowed. It's 21 and over, and just sitting there looking at water all day, literally from sunrise to sunset all day. That was the best part.
So jealous.
So how was the New Year for you?
You earned it. It's been good so far. It's called reentry. And I think that's what you're doing today, Robert. Mm-hmm. Reentry can be rough when you come back from the holidays, but it's good to see your faces. And we will not be talking without children today. In fact, we're going to be hearing children in the background of our show. Is that right, Serena?
Yes,
that's right. Listen closely. You'll hear them in the background. Well, I tell you what, guys, today is a very special podcast for me. I'm extremely excited about this episode. We have the pleasure of introducing a former dedicated parent of early learning and also a phenomenal lead teacher in early learning, currently residing at the Arthur M. Blank Early Learning Center at EA where I have the privilege to be the center director at. So I'm excited about this podcast today. Now, we're going to begin with a very brief bio overview of early learning. So, the Y has been in early learning education in that space for 30 years, and it's the largest provider of early learning in the metro Atlanta area, serving over 3,400 early learners. You can hear them. Can you hear them, guys?
Yes, we can.
I can hear them.
I love it.
Early Learning Head Start and Early Head Start program is a federally funded comprehensive preschool program which serves families and children ranging in ages 0 to 5. The staff has professional backgrounds in the fields of education, social work, health, special education, and even management. Our goal is to support parents as their child's first teacher and to devote each day to help their children learn through classroom participation and home learning activities. So with all that being said, let's learn a little bit about our former parent, Miss Quichecia Johnson. Quichecia Johnson is an early learning special needs advocate, small business owner. Quichecia has served multiple roles with the Arthur M. Blank Early Learning Center at EA Ware. Her first role as a parent of children a mere 7 and 8 and 5. She began to serve the parent committee as secretary. Her role then transitioned as soon as she was voted into Parent Policy Committee Representative the following year. Through various workshops and her desire to be a voice for children and families of early learning, she inspired to join other organizations. Another organization that she joined was B.C.D.I, which stands for Black Child Development Institute Atlanta. Ms. Johnson continues to serve as an extended hand whenever needed. I could just pick up the phone and say, Ms. Johnson, I need you, and she's there right away. She is the founder, and CEO of Mommyphoria Incorporated, a parent-led organization that promotes mental health awareness and involvement and self-care for mothers who have children with special needs. So glad to have you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
And we also have, yes, thank you. And then Miss Genesis LaVanway. She is currently a teacher here at EA Ware. She's an early childhood education teacher that has worked with children of all ages over a span of 16 years. Genesis graduated in 2019 with a degree in education from Shorter University. With the support and leadership from the Y, Genesis has stayed current with the newest teaching techniques, behavioral strategies, and how to encourage and increase family involvement within the classroom and community. This school year, Genesis advanced within the organization to become a lead pre-K teacher. Genesis believes that creating a bond, that's right. Well done, Ms. Genesis. A bond of trust between families, students, and education is the best way to achieve a strong foundation in learning. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you both for being here. No, it's great. I have to say that one of the things that I know Zarina and Robert are used to hearing at the Y when people often hear about early learning is, I didn't know the Y was engaged in early learning. So this episode is all about how we can share that story. And Quichecia, I'm going to start with you as a former parent. Love that you're still engaged with us at the Y, but wanted you to see if you could reflect on some of your memories as an early learning parent. What were some of those experiences like in the Y's program?
I'm going to keep it as brief as I can. When I first got invited to the Y, it was actually through a friend. And she was just like, oh, it was closed. They just opened up. I'm going to make a few phone calls. And so she did. And I waited probably about 2 days. They called me back and I was like, okay. And I was a little nervous because my oldest son had been transitioned through Clayton County. He had been diagnosed on the spectrum. And this was, a scary thing as a parent. My son is getting ready to go to school. And I was really concerned about safety. That was the biggest thing. Can somebody come in, and I don't want it close to the street. And I had all of these ideas. And when I walked through the front door on the very first day, I was like, they have bars. They have a gate. You can't get through. You can't get through this early learning side. I fell in love. And then when we were blessed with Miss Genesis, I am not going to lie, I just was, taken aback because it meant everything for my son, my Jimmy Giant, to come in taller than everybody else, just transitioning to start speaking. And she loved on him like a love I can never forget. And I am forever grateful for that because that was my initial experience. It was love. It was security. It was a solid foundation. And then once I found out that, hey, you can, he was coming in at 3. And I was like, wow, I had a younger son who was 1 at the time. And so as we were welcomed in at the same time, they used to let Aiden play, and I got a chance to stay for parent meetings, and I got a chance to really participate in a different way than I didn't expect. And when they started doing like the needs assessment, I was extremely pleased because, hey, here's work. Here's this. Here's Thanksgiving events. Here's water circus tickets. Here's an invitation to the fatherhood program so your boys can, get some experience in that way. So they really just touched my heart in allowing me to participate and be myself, which was the biggest thing for me. Learning how to advocate, learning how to be a voice for my child, And that was the whole, the beginning, the initial.
I love hearing that. And I love hearing how active you became from the beginning, because I have a background in teaching, and Zarina, and I know Genesis can tell you this. It's all about how much that family puts into it. And it's so much more worthwhile when you do. So thank you for being that parent who jumped in right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to describe that experience, that initial experience, as love and security, I don't think any parent wants anything less for their child walking into a new environment. Genesis, I'm going to turn it to you. Can you reflect on some of the experiences you remember teaching Quichea's children?
Well, I would just like to start off by saying I couldn't have asked for a better parent. I mean, the involvement, the connection, just keeping in touch and keeping that open line of communication was so amazing to have with her. I just remember wanting to make sure that both of them felt comfortable and safe, and I didn't want her to ever worry about her child feeling different or unaccepted. I wanted her to know that I would provide him with the same experiences as all the other children, and that there's always a way. And I was willing to really get to know him. And it was just important for me to feel out what worked for him, what didn't, and what he would allow as far as challenging him and pushing him, and just having somebody to work with. I told her all the time she could have been an educator herself. I mean, if I didn't have her, I don't think it would have been as great as an experience as it was. It was just definitely great being able to have an involved parent. Anytime we had an event, something special going on in the classroom, she was my go-to parent. And it just makes the school year go so smoothly when you have that extra support outside of the classroom, especially for a child that has different learning requirements and stuff like that, making sure we're able to still hit those targets and being on the same page. And when I tell you he was one of my most successful students, his disability had no effects on his learning. He did amazing. And like I said, I believe it was all coming down to the partnership that I was able to have with his mother. And even with her younger son, I really had that bond with the older brother. So I was familiar with him. And even though he was partially nonverbal, I was able to create that bond with him to understand what he was saying, even if he wasn't saying it. And it was just a pleasure to be able to recognize my abilities. So I just am grateful to experience these two children, because they really gave me a sense of doing a great job. I mean, seeing such a big, improvement and advancement, and just seeing them develop was just really awesome. And being able to share that with her and keeping her up to date, it was something that I wish I could have with every student's parent.
Right.
You can definitely hear the passion in your voice. Absolutely. Can hear the passion in your voice.
And take heed, parents out there. These are the kind of parents we need more of.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Exactly. And also the kind of teachers we need more of. And one thing I can say about Miss Genesis is that the same love and compassion that she gave to Miss Johnson's children, she gave to all the children within the classroom and within the entire program here at EA Ware. So thank you so much for that, Miss Genesis.
You're welcome.
And so Miss Johnson, let me tell you what we would like to know, Miss Johnson. As your children have moved on to elementary school, from your perspective, could you share the impact that the WISE Early Learning Program has had on them?
Amir is thriving. Amir has all A's. He's 98s and 100s. They don't do the color wheel anymore. They don't do just the letters. They're doing full blown numbers now. And so I think him being able to comprehend what our foundation is, which started here in the world, it helps him to remember, like, fun. Learning is fun. Learning can be fun, even when it's hard, because you're challenging yourself. And that's something that because his issues more so are a social emotional factor. Now, they're not verbal or, deal with language as much as it deals with social emotional. And then with the pandemic and things of that nature, he thrived on the laptop, thrived on the iPad, and, being, these kids can already do way more than we can, literally now. Okay, right. We didn't have any of this when we were young. I'm an '80s baby, but looking at how excited I am to complete his homework packet with him. We do homework Monday and Tuesday, pretty much, to get it all done. He has Cub Scouts on Wednesday, so he's in a social group. We are reviewing on Friday. We're using other opportunities as learning opportunities, even when he's not in school. And so it's just awesome to see him in that capacity with things that somebody else may find challenging. He's reading now. Like, he's reading. When I was here, I was so nervous about, oh my goodness, getting hooked on phonics and babies can read. And I was trying to find whatever would work. And it was simple flashcards, fast, every day. It was going over information, things that we were going over since our foundation in the Y. And I think for him, he latched on to that. He's facing what other 7-year-olds face right now, distraction, attention, but we're learning to hone it in and let him know that his attention is the most valuable thing that he has right now. And so we have to grasp it, and mommy likes him to be cooperative. So, it's not a lot of of the harshness. In fact, discipline is different because you're more verbalizing, you're allowing to express. And I think that's something that when we worked on expression, even here in the Y, he used to kind of hide what all he knew. I would come in the classroom and they would be going over something and he's, not saying it. I'm like, Amir, what are you doing? And then the Genesis would be like, oh, Amir knows that, huh? And then he's looking at her and he's looking at me and he's shaking his head. Yeah, because you do know. But it was just a wonderful thing. And then on the total opposite end of the spectrum is still partially nonverbal, and he's building conversation skills, but is not yet receptive. So we're working really effortlessly in going into another direction, which is involving behavioral issues. This is where that love is good, but this is where the hardcore work really comes in. What are you willing to do to get help for your child? This is where the Y comes in. All of those workshops that had information about the IEP, that had information about, what you need to know with the IDEA Act and, just all of these things. And then the professionals that they had here, it was just awesome. So Aiden may not have progressed as much as I would have thought, but he has still made stone cold, groundbreaking progress for us still because of this foundation and our access to the resources. Sorry, that was long-winded, you guys.
Absolutely.
Serena, that has got to make you feel so good as the director of the Early Learning Center to hear that feedback.
Yes, and that's why I always say it's a privilege. It's a privilege and an honor to be a leader at such a dynamic center with courageous parents, courageous teachers. I mean, everyone goes above and beyond, and it does. I'm not going to drop a tear. I think one is kind of in the corner, but it does my heart extremely well. And I figure we picked the best teacher and parent to represent the rest of the teachers and the rest of the parents at EA, where this is what you will find and why early learning right here today.
I always find it, really amazing. I've worked only in the wellness department and helped out in other departments. But hearing your experiences in early learning really lifts my heart, and to what you're doing and as well as to what the Y offers. because we don't hear this so much. We don't hear this enough. We hear a lot about the classes, and I take a lot of pride in the classes that I've taught and that my instructors teach and the wellness coaches and coach approach, but we don't hear about this core value of, responsibility and caring.
Yes.
And then we just add sharing into it, where
Right.
we the teachers are truly just giving of yourself. You're giving of your of yourself so much, and we truly appreciate that. And I know, Genesis, we talked a little bit before we started this, as we were preparing, and you talked a little bit about your beginning at Dean Rusk. But can you tell us a little bit more about your love for becoming an early learning teacher and what's kept you in the classroom?
All right. Well, definitely, I would love to share that. I will have to admit, as a child, I didn't have it the easiest, and I wasn't the easiest child to deal with. I had a lot of things growing up, and it just made me be more aware that children go through things too, and we have to be accepting, we have to be understanding, and we have to be dedicated to not change them, but to elevate them and help them grow into the best them. Being able to be that person that makes a child feel safe, happy to learn, eager to learn, and it's just a great feeling to be able to provide that to students and see the outcomes, see the progression, having it noticed by parents, and seeing how happy that makes them and how proud that makes them, being able to be a part and making a difference in a child's learning experience. And not only that, I like to focus on the social emotional aspects of things. I want children to feel confident. I like them to be able to feel empowered. And that's just something else that I am so grateful to be able to do in teaching, being able to uplift these young minds, and they're so impressionable. And I am just dedicated to it. I love that I'm able to make a difference with these children, and it means a lot to me, to see all this go down and be a part of it. This is just amazing, you guys.
I can feel the heart. Yes, I'm telling you, I can feel how both of you just have giant hearts for this. And I really appreciate you, Genesis, reflecting on your personal experience and kind of using your personal experience to really guide the work that you do today. So we really appreciate it. Quichecia, I am inspired by your passion, and it's clear that passion has really motivated you to get engaged and become an advocate of this work. Can you share more about that side of the work that you've been doing?
I actually have a long history of volunteering. You could say I've been doing it since I was in high school. When I got to college, I had been mentoring 12 to 19-year-old girls through dance and choreography. And I think when I finally had children, it really kind of spilled over. I thought I was going to look up and get a girl. And that's not what happened. And I was doing it, and it reroutes everything. It changes everything, just like being a parent. And when I made that transition and my oldest son was diagnosed, I really had some really, really serious changes and transitions to make. Obviously, I was teaching 9th through 12th grade. I graduated from Albany State University. Whoop whoop, HBCU, go Rams. I do have a background in healthcare administration as well as education, and so I went through a period where once I had a year, I went back in education. I was teaching healthcare science, 9th through 12th grade, and so that's always kind of been my favorite group, adolescent health and youth development. Now, again, when I had children, this changed. So now we're looking at cultivating a different kind of vision that I can actually participate in. And I used to think that I was not as good with children, in saying, hey, bye, and tutoring and those things, but in really advocating and being there and really seeing it, the compassion and what these teachers are doing, it really just transitioned. Working with B.C.D.I, that was changing to me going through the Y, because they were talking about literacy and they were giving, books. And so we added on to our personal collection. I went for University for Parents, where I was able to take free courses during the pandemic, that graphic design, public speaking, and a lot of things that helped me just open my mind with this route that I could possibly go. And I started meeting women around about at the store, at the gas station, everywhere. And you could tell they were having some issues with their kids. And instead of them being patient, they may have been one of those ones that was short fused and snapping on their child while they were in the store. And you could see her discomfort in, trying to look around. And it feels so good to be able to kind of step up in the midst of the shadow to bring some sunlight, that you don't have to know all the answers, but there are resources to get the answers. And if you don't know how to get them, let me help. It started just with that. Then it started with the meltdowns. When my son started having meltdowns, I realized just how much this was tying into my postpartum depression after I had transitioning as a single parent. When I moved over here, I was riding an Uber, and to know that I have had the support of the Y, like just in going through these other advocacy programs, it's allowing me to reach out and make a support group for the other mothers that, need that coaching, that need that encouragement, even if it's just through words or a phone call, through accountability. All of those things are super important. And what the most important thing of it all is, if you don't believe you're going to get through it, you may not get through it, because it's a mindset. It's a true mindset. If you don't believe that you can help your child, you won't be able to help your child. And we cannot depend fully on the Y or whatever the educational system is, or the teacher. It's not them. This is on a graph that you guys provided, that the children are with us more than they are with you guys. Okay, we are the teacher. So it is a partnership. It is what we learn, and so that's really what geared it off. And so that's what we're doing right now, accountability coaching for small groups that are in our local area, our community. We're starting first. And it's just a safe space, a judgment-free space for us to come together and, talk about those things that our family don't understand, or the judgments, or, the things that come from that. So.
If I can ask you really fast, if someone's listening to this and they want to get engaged in these groups that you're talking about, how would someone go about doing that?
Well, the first way, we're doing the groundwork. So don't expect to go to this page and find just a plethora of things. I kind of old school and I'm private, but I'm resurfacing and coming out. So you can follow at mommyphoria.inc. That is on Instagram. You can reach me also at mommyphoria, which is mommyphoria.inc@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get that with you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. So we've discussed a lot, but is there anything else you guys would like to share about the Y Early Learning Program, ladies?
I would just like to share. Well, thank you. I would just like to share that this is a great place. It's family oriented, even when it comes down to the people you work with. This place has taught me that there's a lot of children out there who may think of this as their safe haven, and being able to just give them that place to go to every day, to feel safe, feel comfortable, and enjoy themselves, and to be free and, just be themselves. That's what the Y is to me. And I think that's just amazing that they offer that to these children. Just awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Genesis. Ms. Johnson.
I'm going to tag in with her, and I'm just going to say I'm grateful for the Y, for really just all of those, I'll call them destiny helpers. Each and every one of you that participated, that I can, text and just keep up with. I just really want to say thank you, one, for believing in me, supporting me. And I just want to tell all the parents, honestly, participate, be present. It matters so much. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the right answers, but you do have to be intentional, and you do have to be open to learning. It is okay to get help. It doesn't mean that you're not a good parent. It doesn't mean you're not doing a good job. It means that you are mature enough. It means that you love your kids enough to go above and beyond. However many times you fall, keep getting up. You just keep getting up. And that is the same type of attitude that I've had from the beginning of this thing when I walked in and met these two ladies. And I've done good without crying this whole time, so I'm not going to do it now. But from walking in, Ms. Winston holding that professionalism, I don't care what the situation was. And we've seen some situations, you know how parents do. But when I say the composure, the statue, the grace, I am just so excited, and I'm so grateful for you and being like the silent mentor, and the Y for being a silent mentor, and just building on everybody's lives that have come through there. One of the main things is that parents have moved up and taken hold and have positions here, and that's how it starts. So be engaged, be engaged, be engaged.
I tell you, thank you, ladies, so much for agreeing to be a part of this podcast episode. This has been just amazing conversation, and just thank you.
Well, if I may, Ms. Genesis and Ms. Quichecia, we at Y Connect, we have the last part of our questions is that we ask you what your why is. We ask you how you got connected to the Y. We know each of us have our own story, and so we would love to hear your story of how you were both connected to the Y and your starting points.
Okay.
Whoever
Okay.
So,
go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say real quick, my connect was a friend of mine, Shonda, and her son was going to KIP, and he was like 1 year older than my son. And like I said, she said, here's some openings for early Head Start. I think that the Y is an awesome place. You should sign up. I signed up and I waited for a call back, and that's how I got connected. And my children are the Y. Their future is the Y. That is why I do it, and that's why we connected.
Love hearing that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I connected with the Y kind of similar through a friend that was employed here, and she just gushed so much about the program and just working for the company that even though I was terrified, I went out on the limb and I said, it's time for a change. And it was one of the best choices I made. The YMCA is my home and my future. I definitely am invested and just grateful to be a part of it.
Amen.
Well, we are a better organization because of you. Thank you both.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for telling your story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for just taking the time to actually listen. When she offered the invitation, she said, I think you would be a great fit for it. I'm like, really? Yay,
Oh, yeah, of course.
To share, because I participated with different little things before, even with Atlanta Housing. They had something at the park where they were trying to get everyone to talk about inclusivity and disabilities at the park. And, somebody, called and said, hey, can you show up? Yes, I can show up because I want to be there for that,
Yeah.
So thank you all.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Johnson, for picking up that call. And thank you, Ms. Genesis, for always saying yes. You guys are appreciated. And thank you for sharing your stories today.
This has been great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Y Podcast. To continue the conversation or to find your closest Y, please connect with us at ymcaatlanta.org and sign up for our newsletter, Healthy Together.
Dad!